My friends, this is my brand new Ripmo V2. They say it's a little longer, they say it's a little slacker. Don't they always say that? This is my dream bike build here. I'm so excited about so many little doodads and fun things on this bike. I really wish a few of these doodads would have came 3 weeks earlier instead of being delayed, because this video would have been a lot more fun. But hey, we're here on YouTube as an escape, so let's escape. Let's talk about the bike. This is the Ibis Ripmo V2 in Star Destroyer Gray. It's a 29-inch wheel bike. It has 160 millimeters of travel in the front, 147 millimeters of travel in the rear. Ibis is a fine sponsor of this channel, keeping me on the road, keeping me making videos. Thank you so much, Ibis, for being a partner, helping me build this bike up, and I am so excited to actually put some miles on it. It's very, very clean right now, 0 miles. As I go through the video and talk about all the different parts, I'll have a little disclosure here at the bottom, and that will show you if I got it for free, if I paid for it, or like this frame, if it was a sponsor. Let's start with the Axis Eagle drivetrain, wireless shifting. I am really excited to see how this performs on the trail. It is a very, very expensive derailleur, and I beat things up a lot. I'm already afraid that I'm gonna hit this thing on a rock, I'm gonna knock the battery out, and I'm gonna lose it. But the promise of wireless shifting is so cool. No cables. It's supposed to automatically adjust, and kind of, if things are starting to wear out, it compensates for that. I've already had to update the firmware on the rear derailleur. Hold on, guys, we're in the parking lot, we're about to go on the ride. I need to update my firmware first. I have a couple buddies who are really, really happy with their Axis Eagle drivetrains and the wireless shifting. I cannot wait to put it on the trail, put it through the test, and let you guys know while I'm riding what's going on with it. With this system, you've got a battery on the rear derailleur that needs to be charged up every once in a while. We'll see how often it needs to be charged. And you have a paddle shifter, which they call a remote, at the front where your regular shifter used to be. The remote has a non-rechargeable coin-style battery inside of it. Inside the Axis app, you can actually set which way the remote goes. If you push your thumb up, will it upshift or downshift? If you push your thumb down, will it downshift or upshift? I never know which is out or up or down, but whatever the default was, feels pretty good to me. I also went with the wireless dropper post, RockShox Reverb Axis. I am so stoked. No wires, no cables, just performance. I'm gonna beat the hell out of it, and we'll see if it holds up, if it gets stuck, if it doesn't go up, if it doesn't go down. I'll tell you guys while I'm out on my rides, but the hopes are high. The dropper post and the rear derailleur use the same battery, which reminds me I need to order extra batteries, just so I'm at the trailhead and I can go in case I completely mess up and forget to charge this thing up. And of course, there will be links in the description for every single part on the bike. I'm going to forget something. I always forget something in these videos, so check out the links in the description. They will be pointing you to worldwidecyclery.com. Those are the dudes who actually built this bike up for me. I had the frame, I ordered parts from them. A few of these parts came for free, but they put it all together in Southern California and shipped it out to me here in North Carolina. And Worldwide Cyclery really does treat me like they treat you. They always answer my questions. They answer anybody's questions. If you have a fitment thing, which bottom bracket goes with this or which bearing goes with that, they've heard every question before and they probably have an answer. I've got a RockShox Lyric Ultimate up front. Looking forward to getting some miles on it. I've always been pretty ignorant about suspension and feel, but I feel like I'm starting to get better. I know I always say that every year, but I feel like I'm starting to get better and will actually be able to tell a difference between Fox and RockShox. The only thing I'm bummed about this bike is that I will have to go back to a normal mud guard. The Fox forks have screws in the fork where you can put in that Scott Synchros mud guard. It looks so good, it's so integrated. I'll figure out something, but RockShox, get on it. Get some way to get a good fender on this thing. The Ripmo is now compatible with a coil shock, so let's throw one on there and see what happens. I went with the RockShox Super Deluxe Coil Ultimate. It's quite a mouthful, but it's going to keep my tires on the ground on tough technical climbs and tough technical descents. That's what I love the most. That's what my riding is all about. For my cranks on this bike, I went with something a little extreme. I went with the Cane Creek Titanium E-Wings cranks. I beat the hell out of every crank I've ever had. Somehow I've never broken a crank, which is weird to me because if you look at all my cranks, they are chewed up. So I went with the E-Wings for durability. I'm sure they're gonna get a few scratches and stuff, but I think they're gonna hold up really, really well for all the punishment that I will give them. And I've got the cranks mated up with a Cane Creek Hellbender bottom bracket, the coolest name for a bottom bracket ever. I went with the 1UP Components chain guide and bash guard on this thing. There are very small tolerances for the whole chain guide thing to work. There's things that are sticking out, you're very close to the frame, but this looks like there is clearance, so I'm very happy about that. Keep the chain on the cogs. I went with the Onyx Vesper hubs inside my wheels for instant engagement and silent rolling down the trail. I've always thought about these dang Onyx hubs, and now I finally have some on my bike. I'm really looking forward to seeing how instant engagement changes technical obstacles and climbing and everything else on the trail. The rims on this thing are Zip 30 Moto Carbon. I went with these wheels because they mate up perfectly with the Tire Whiz, and I was really geeking out about having the Tire Whiz on my bike. But once I posted a sneak preview picture of this bike on Instagram stories, I had messages from far and wide of people who have these Zip wheels and said, oh man, you're actually gonna tell a difference with these things. I am very skeptical, but we shall see. I will keep an open mind and I will let you know if I feel like these things are a game changer. I'll tell you what is a game changer though, the Tire Whiz. I've got one in the front, I've got one in the back, and now I can just glance down, and if I see a green light, that means my air pressure is good to go. If it's red, that means I need to probably put a little bit of air in, or maybe even take a little bit of air out. My valves have an app. This is coming for everything. There's gonna be sensors everywhere in bikes eventually, and this is just the start. So when I put air into the tires, I can actually see exactly how much air is in there. Inside the app, I can actually set tolerances, so if it's too low or too high, it will alert me and say, hey, you're running low on air. Just a couple more batteries to worry about on the bike. For tires, I've got Maxxis front and rear. I got the Assegai up front. I've got the DHR2 in the rear. Exo Plus WT, check the link in the description. No tire inserts in this thing, no thank you. So let's talk about some of the touch points where your body touches the bike. I don't have my pedals on here, but I usually like Shimano XT trail pedals. I've got this WTB Silverado saddle. I've been using these Silverado saddles for many years now, since I had my Yeti SB66 in 2012, I think. I dig it, doesn't mess with my butt, I'm good to go. I went with the P&W component grips on this thing. They're in gray, and I think the gray matches the gray on the bike pretty dang good. I think it sets it off really nicely. The grips are a little thin, but I haven't actually ridden on the bike yet, so I can't tell you what I think of them, but they look good. I've got Shimano XT brakes. I have been happy with Shimano brakes for a long time now. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And last and probably least, the least thought I put into the bike was the handlebar and the stem. And now I realize that was kind of silly, because I have this really cool Thompson stem on the old Ripmo, and it looks so much better and it's so much cooler than this like random race-face turbine stem. Let me know in the comments what kind of stem I should get. I was looking at the Industry 9 stems. Maybe I get a silver one and it kind of plays off the silver on the RockShox reverb thing here. The handlebar is a Race-Face Next R carbon bar. Good to go. I'm happy with it, but like I said, if you've got a suggestion, let me know in the comments. Those were the two things I kind of forgot to think about. Oh yeah, and I also went with a Chris King headset. I have used a lot of Cane Creek headsets, and I've gone through a lot of Cane Creek headsets. Maybe it's me, I don't know. I think everyone has something on their bike that just breaks all the time. I know some people go through bottom brackets all the time. Some people break saddles all the time, and wheels and tires. For me, it always seems like the headset. I just can't keep one on there. So I spent a little bit more money on the Chris King headset, hoping that the reliability will be there. Time will tell. I think that's everything, but I'm not 100% sure. Thank you so much to Ibis for sponsoring me this year. I am so stoked to get this thing out. Thank you to SRAM for sending me a few parts for free on this bike. Worldwide Cyclery for actually building it up for me and sending it out. Super excited and stoked to keep this thing going. We shall see if I can get all 50 states this year. It's looking a little rough. Thanks for watching, you guys. I'll see you on the trail.